Okay, so we're starting the blockout phase, and we can see we're having some issues. And I just wanted to show this really quick because we went over this in class. Not everybody was there, and you may need a refresher. So, in short, we've gotten part of our lip sync down, and now we're starting to block it out so that we can actually start to get our character in the poses, starting with just the main poses that we wanted. Now, if I right click and enable stepped preview inside of the timeline, the face might look a little weird, but as we play through,
Carol, did I ever tell you why I married her?
Yes, Sam. You told me many.
Her father was very, very rich and very, very sick. The doctors assured me.
now I'm having a little problems because I switched. And what I had switched was in here, something we went over in class, which is parenting of the actual hands. By default, the hands are kind of parented with the character. So when that means that whenever I move my character, the hands go with him. Now, when I parent, like later on, I've switched the parenting of the hands to world, which is right there. Now, if I actually move the body, the awesome thing about it is that now, oops, well, that one is. I have to adjust that one. But now you'll notice that hand doesn't move because I have to do it to both of them. So let me do a save as just so we can actually see where we were before. So I'm going to put this one at block 2. And I'm going to open up the previous one so you can see where I'm going with this, and then we'll go back. And you want to save multiple versions because all sorts of things can go weird. So I'm going to not show joints, and I'm going to show you what the blockout is so far, minus a few little changes that we have to make. And first we'll show the stepped view.
Carol, did I ever tell you why I married her?
Yes, Sam. You told me many.
Her father was very, very rich and very, very sick. The doctors assured me he'd be dead any minute.
Now, if I look at the non-stepped view, which is actually more accurate to what it'll look like, it's still very rough, but I just wanted you to see the key by key.
Carol, did I ever tell you why I married her?
Yes, Sam. You told me many.
Her father was very, very rich and very, very sick. The doctors assured me he'd be dead any minute. Carol. Her father was very, very rich and very, very sick. The doctors assured me he'd be dead any minute.
So we start to see what the motion is, the camera shot, all these different things we're talking about. But as you'll notice, if I want to actually have him like lean forward when he's saying one of these things, if I start to move him, his hands move off the table, and that doesn't help me. Now, if I actually take those hands, the controllers, and actually tell them to parent to world, of course I'll have to do a readjustment of it, but when I do that, the hands are going to stay. I just have to reposition them back. The other thing I need to do, let me undo that, is there's a lot of controls that I have to set a key on. And while I'm just in this preliminary stage of just setting keys, I want to make sure that I key everything that I need to. And to do that, I'm going to do a character set. And the character set is, you have to have this visible down here. It's in your range slider. And you'll see when I go, right now it's set to none, but if I go Andy all, this character has, I can key everything. I can key only the face, or I can key just the body. If I choose body, I don't have to have anything selected, and you'll notice I still see my keys. So when I press S, it's going to key everything that's inside of that group, which is awesome. So now I don't have to, if I moved a whole bunch of things to get him into a pose, I actually don't have to worry about that. Okay. Um, so then I just have to go in, like let's say we get to this point right here. And also you're going to notice, do you see this little twist? His hand is doing this weird twisty thing. This is where we go in, and as we kind of scrub, say, what's going on there? What's happening with that wrist? Why is it doing weird stuff? And I want to make sure that it's not doing something totally weird when it comes in. So I would say, oh, well, which rotate is that it's twisting on? And it's the red one, which is the X. So I would go in on the rotate X and look at it and make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And I zoom in on those areas where it's like, oh, you know what? This is where it's actually doing that weird little twisty thing. So if I use my move tool and I bring this down, you notice it doesn't do that anymore. We zoom in and look for little weird hiccups and see where they're going. And part of it could also be this little guy back here making modifications. But we want to make sure that it's to be careful of it doing weird stuff. So there is a matter of like just double checking and seeing if maybe it flipped at some point. And seeing where stuff is going odd. Whenever you see something that's like a real big change, more often than not, that's where something is happening weird. But let's go back into that other version where it's a little bit further along. And I'm just going to show real quick how to make a few adjustments. So as we're blocking things out, and you notice right now it's doing this weird thing, and that's because I'm switching to parented. So I'm going to have to make some adjustments to this. And I'm thinking I'm parenting his hands to the world because when he gets to this point, I want his hands to stay on the ground and have total control over them. So I turn on my character set, body, so I can see all my keys. And then I look and say, well, where does he come over? Bam, like right about here is where things should lock. So this is where I actually go in. Let's check out the graph editor. And I could do one of these at a time. And that looks like a hot mess. But I just remember the trick of the graph editor, because there's so much stuff going on, is you simplify and you narrow this down to the things that you want to adjust. And right now, let's look at the parenting. So when I select this, we see something right here. And then it drops back. And I want it to stay parented during that time. Now right now, it's not. It's like, oh, it's at world, and this one it's not, and this one it's not. So I want to keep it that way all the way through. And I want to make sure that all these, oops, are locked to that, which means that it'll be parented all that time, or should be parented all that time. So if I actually go in and say, wow, you know what, you're going to be parented to the world. We set that key. Next one, world. Set that key, and we see where all that is. So all these basically for world need to be right up here. And now you'll notice it stays there. It's not bouncing, at least radically all around. I just have to make sure that it actually stays where it's supposed to. So now I would look at the translates. And that's where it's bouncing. You can see the translate, the red line down here is where it's shooting over. And we see this big hiccup there, which basically means that hiccup shouldn't be there. So if I take this and I get rid of that hiccup, then lo and behold, I get rid of my problem. You see that? And this is what you have to kind of do. As I'm looking at these, it doesn't look like much of a change, but when I select it and press F, now we can see that big change. And we can see where it's like, wow, it should be hitting and it's doing all sorts of weird things, and now it's staying up there. So how do we fix that? Let's bring you down. Or actually, I guess you would go up to here. Boom. Makes me wonder what's going on right here. And I'm just fixing things one by one. And granted, there are some little oddities that are actually happening, but that's okay. Just means I may have to line these up a little differently. Or maybe even take this one and say, you know what, I'm going to do the output of this one stepped. So that it literally, let's zoom in there. And see what's going on. So here's there. And sometimes you just have to go to the frame before and adjust it to where it needs to be. And remember, I do have to keep on pressing F. The other thing is that rotation is going all over the place. And there's where the rotation is going totally nuts, is this one. Now, sometimes you may have it like, wow, it's giving me a lot of issues, and where do I want it? And so this is why you don't want to, you want to keep testing things. You may have to decide, wow, you know what? I am just going to take all these keys of this one hand. So I have just that one hand selected. And I might decide that from this point on, boom, right there where things, you could see everything gets kind of weird. I might decide I just want to rekey that one section. And then I could delete it. Now, the unfortunate thing is because I had Andy Body, you'll notice he's not moving at all. So even though I had them selected here, then it may cause more damage. And I just have to be careful of that, because just hitting it and you're like, oh wait, you could see everything here. So if I'm going to do a massive one like that, I want to turn off the fact that I'm seeing all the keys of everything else, and I just want to get rid of just that hand. Even though for some reason it is still making me get rid of all this when it shouldn't. There we go. It's a little weird. It's actually quite weird. for some reason. It's only showing. That's very odd. It's acting as if my character set is on. Strange. So in either case, so he's here. And now I can go let's say he's going to raise his hand here, pull it out, pull it in a little bit, set a key, and then go one frame over, turn my character body back on, set to world, pull that hand down. And this is why we're trying to keep it simple in the beginning, because if I went totally nuts with detail, trying to fix this afterwards is going to be a royal pain in the butt. And set a key. And now that's working much better. And the cool thing is that now if I actually grab this body and move it, watch his hand, you see it stays there. And that opens up the door. So let me do that again. So I'm going to grab this guy. And right here is where he's supposed to, boom, smack his hand down. So I'm going to use that as a guide here. And the other thing is that, remember, I can go in. I'm going to set this to none. So when I grab this, it's only showing the keys in his hand for that one. Yeah. So if I delete those, boom. Bam. And here is where I want it to go to world. I want to bring it down. I'm going to flip it. Turn on my character set body and press S. And now if I look at my translate Y, you'll notice now I can go back through and start setting keys based on those. And because the hands are actually now stuck there, I could do something like this.
Very rich and
Let's say I took his spine. When he's saying that, I'm going to lean him forward. Jinkies, you are supposed to be set to world. Why aren't you set to world? And it's doing that again. So let's take a look real quick and see why it's not. Let's find the parent. There it is. Okay, that looks like this. Now let's make sure. That's still doing it. So I think I know what it's doing. Let me set, I think it keeps resetting it for some reason. So let's go in, set it to world. I'm going to get to that frame I'm supposed to reset it on. Right there. So I set this to world and I key it before I do anything to lock it down. Now I move it down and where it's supposed to be. And key it again. It's so strange, this actually. Oh, I know why it's doing that. Okay. It's the transition. There we go. Now that this translate. So anytime I'm looking at these curves, when I see a hiccup, this is where the graph editor comes in. That's better. So I locked it down. So now, if I go over to here, when I actually grab this, there. Oh dear goodness. Why do you keep resisting? Resistance is futile. Parent. Oh, I see. And I'm doing these on the keyframes. So this is where sometimes it can get pretty... The only reason I'm having this issue is just because I'm changing the parenting so that it is going to be parented to the world, not to the character. And sometimes you have to switch back and forth, like on this one. So if I go to here, so middle mouse drag, press S.
There wasn't a second to lose.
but it is acting very, very odd. This keeps resetting for some strange reason. So, but in either case, basically what happens is you run into this issue, and sometimes you have to noodle it. If you're having a problem with it, sometimes it's good just to turn the character set off and delete all the keys afterwards that are actually happening with that one. And for some reason, yeah, I'm still seeing all of these in here. And I think there's something with the with how it's viewing it, which is kind of odd. But basically going in and adjusting just those. If we go in and say, where's that issue happening? I should be able to go in and just delete. Oh, there's one. Okay, there we go. There we are. So I just had to get rid of all those. For some reason, they were having a big problem. Sorry about that. It happens. So he comes over here. Their parentage world. Let me zoom in on that. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to say he's going to lean over while he's saying that while his hands are planted. And I'm going to say it's going to bend over a little bit more here. And I'm just making him adjust a little bit. So now watch what happens. I'm just hitting keys when I do that.
He was very, very rich and very, very sick.
So now if I look in the graph editor, adjust those guys. And I'm looking at just their rotates, of course. And if I ever need to simplify, let's say right here, I'm going to delete these rotation keys. Oh, yes, and here's the fun of it. Holding down Control, or what would be Command, so I can get rid. I'm going to get rid of these two. move you over into this pose like he's whispering. Hold it.
Very, very sick.
And he straightens himself out. So now watch this.
You told me many.
Her father was very, very rich and very, very sick.
Now we can see I had to delete some things, and this once again is why you don't want to add a billion keyframes and try and get everything perfect. I'm just trying to get the silhouette out of where he's at.
Father was very, very rich and very, very sick.
And then I can go in afterwards and start doing things like to the eyes. Do I want to parent it right now?
Father was very, very rich and very.
And then, so I could select this and just parent that. Once again, if I parent that to world, that looks mighty creepy, yes, because then everything is up here. And then I have to move this entire piece down. So what I might do, instead of that, just to make it a little bit easier, is just key this part.
You told me many.
Her father was very,
So I start to key this. This is like later on you'd be doing it.
father was very, her father was very, very rich. The father was very, very rich and very, very sick. The doctor.
There we go.
Many.
Her father was very, very rich and very, very sick. The doctors assured me.
And I think that should give you an idea. So I have to play in the graph editor. I have to actually start blocking it out, and I have to just think about what it is I want. If I go into my enable stepped preview and I rewind this, and I just want to see how it's going. Think of your camera shot.
Carol, did I ever tell you why I married her?
Yes, Sam. You told me many.
Her father was very, very rich and very, very sick. The doctors assured me he'd be dead any minute.
And then you just keep going. But I jumped a little bit, but I just want you to see how you actually start to get how those poses are.
Very, very sick. Very, very rich.
And we could even have him kind of come up a little bit right at this point. And I want to make sure that I'm actually doing these on keyframes. So that we can just get this sort of an effect.
Carol, did I ever tell you why I married her?
Yes, Sam. You told me many, many.
Her father was very, very rich and very, very sick. The doctor Her father was very, very rich and very, very sick. The doctors assured.
And now we start to see all these little nuances that we can put in. So this should help out a bit as far as just, you see how I'm starting to do this. And I'm going in a little more detail than I normally would. I'd block out the whole thing first and then I'd start adding it. The next phase would be the facial expressions, working a little bit more with the shoulders, shifting of weight, and the fingers of how they're supposed to react. But keep it simple early on. And then from here, I could actually have him kind of lean onto one hand, slide it over. Kind of rotate these guys a little bit. Maybe it's bending here. And maybe this one is bending more. Getting him into that pose that I can imagine him going into. That's better. Oh, before I get him into this pose, here's something to consider. Because I deleted all these other ones, there's no stopping point, so he's just going to drift all this way. So actually, I have to get him out of that pose and say right there, I'm going to lock everything down. So what that basically means is I'm going to go back into my character set, body, and you see there's keys on other things. And I'm just going to key everything. So now he's locked into this pose. And now here's where I can put him into that pose. And that's an important point, because if I actually didn't do that, he's going to drift all that way. But now I know exactly what I need to do to get him into this position. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to bring this, kind of position him over, and just Z out of that because it's the only thing. It's like, man, I had him in such a good pose. Now I have to get him back into that again. So I'm going to pull him over because he's leaning more. We're going to take these three, kind of rotate them, and then from here, kind of rotate him over. And we want him to lean forward a little bit. He's just kind of propped over to the side. And still. And we just kind of get in. And based on where this actually is happening, we kind of rotate it a little bit. That's looking better. And get him into that pose that we want. And we can even sometimes move these over a little bit just to adjust. Bring this down because that's going to rest. He's resting on the table. Bring this over and then adjust this elbow. And you get the idea. I'll get him back into that pose I liked. This one's not as good, but you spend that time and you get these strong poses. And then once I have that down, then I can do an S, and then it locks him into that position. And how they're going to twist and stuff. Okay, there we go.